Block 1. Silent Sanction Explained. Have you ever found yourself in a mental courtroom with you as the sole defendant, prosecutor, and judge all at once? You've just said no to something. A request for your time, an invitation you can't accept, a project you don't have the capacity for. And immediately the trial begins. You feel this immense, crushing pressure to present your case. You start drafting your closing argument, a perfectly worded justification designed to win over the jury of one, the person you just said no to. You're not just declining, you're pleading for their understanding, for their validation, for their permission to have your own limits. This exhausting cycle, this constant need to explain and defend the borders of our own lives, is a modern epidemic of quiet desperation. We believe our boundaries are only as strong as our arguments for them. But what if that's a fundamental misunderstanding of where true power lies? What if the most powerful boundaries are the ones that are never spoken, only demonstrated? This is the core of a profound Stoic strategy, a concept we can call Epictetus's Silent Sanction. It's a radical shift in perspective that liberates you from the exhausting labor of justification. The great Stoic teacher Epictetus, a former slave who became one of antiquity's most influential philosophers, built his entire philosophy on a single, unshakable foundation: understanding the critical difference between what is within our control and what is not. Our judgments, our impulses, our actions, our will, these are ours to command. Everything else, what other people think, how they react, their approval, their disappointment, is external and therefore fundamentally indifferent to our inner peace. The silent sanction is the direct, practical application of this powerful dichotomy. It is the art of setting a boundary not with a plea, but with a principle, not with an explanation, but with an action. It is the quiet, unwavering enforcement of your own limits, where your behavior becomes the unbreachable wall, requiring no verbal defense because its existence is its own statement. Let's break this down. When you feel the need to justify your no, you are implicitly handing over power. You are saying, I will honor my boundary, but only if you agree with my reasons for it. You are seeking external validation for an internal decision. This opens the door for negotiation, for debate, for emotional manipulation. The other person might start picking apart your reasons. Oh, you're tired? But this will only take a minute. You have another commitment? Can't you move it? Suddenly, your personal boundary becomes a public forum, and your inner peace is held hostage by someone else's approval. The silent sanction cuts this process off at the source. It operates on the principle that your decisions, born from your values and your assessment of your own capacity, do not require a cosigner. The boundary is not the no. The boundary is the action that follows the no. If you decide you will not work past 6 p.m. to protect your family time, the sanction is not the announcement you make to your boss. The sanction is the act of you calmly closing your laptop, packing your bag, and walking out the door at 6 p.m. every single day. Consistently, calmly, without apology. This isn't about being rude, dismissive, or aggressive. In fact, it's the opposite. The energy of the silent sanction is one of quiet strength and profound self-respect. It's a calm, non-combative stance. You can be perfectly polite. I appreciate you thinking of me for this project, but I won't be able to take it on. End of sentence. If they push for a reason, you don't need to invent one or overshare. A simple, I'm afraid it's just not possible for me right now, is sufficient. The key is to hold that line with serene composure. Your tone isn't a challenge. It's a statement of fact, as neutral as saying the sky is blue. You are not arguing, you are simply informing. The real work happens internally. You must grant the permission to have that boundary. You must accept that the other person's potential disappointment is an external factor, outside of your control. Your responsibility is to your own principles and your own well-being, what the Stoics called maintaining your ruling reason in a state of tranquility. Think of the immense mental and emotional energy you reclaim. Every moment spent crafting an excuse, worrying about how it will be received, or engaging in a debate about your own limits is energy you could be using to live a life aligned with your values. The silent sanction is an act of profound energy conservation. It frees you from the performance of being perpetually accommodating. You stop living in fear of the dreaded question, but why? Because you realize the why is for you, not for them. Your reason for needing rest, for protecting your time, for declining a social event is valid simply because it is reason. It doesn't need to pass a committee vote. By consistently demonstrating your boundaries through your actions, you are actually teaching people how to treat you. Initially, there might be friction. People who are used to you being endlessly pliable will test the new structure. But when they see that the wall is firm, that it is not aggressive but simply, they will learn to respect it. Your consistency becomes a silent, powerful form of communication. This fosters a deeper, more authentic form of respect than any well-argued justification ever could. People respect those who respect themselves. When you demonstrate that you value your own time, energy, and peace, others are more likely to do the same. You are no longer a resource to be debated over, but an individual with clear, self-possessed principles. This is the liberation Epictetus promised. It is the freedom that comes from anchoring your sense of self-worth internally, rather than seeking it in the choppy waters of external opinion. It is the creation of an unshakable inner citadel, a fortress of tranquility that does not depend on the agreement or understanding of the outside world. Your actions are the guards at the gate. Your principles are the walls. And inside, you are free. So the next time you need to set a boundary, take a deep breath. State your position simply and clearly. And then let the quiet strength of your actions speak for you. That is the silent sanction. That is the path to true Stoic power.